I remember, I think after my second strikeout, just like being in the dugout, talking to one of the assistant coaches, being like, what's happening? Like almost on the verge of tears, like, oh my gosh, like the walls are caving in. It took a lot of growth that year to kind of get to where I wanted to be. What's up guys, I'm Stephen Kwan and you're watching No Easy Outs.
Stephen Kwan has loved baseball since he was a little boy, but growing up, Kwan sometimes questioned where he fit in, teased about being short and having few Asian American players as role models. Even after making one of the top college programs in the country, he struggled with confidence. So how has he risen above it all to become an all-star and Gold Glove winning outfielder? Here's his story.
From Fremont, California. I went to Washington High School, go Huskies. I went to Oregon State. I was drafted in 2018 in the 5th round by Cleveland and made my debut in 2022 and have luckily been in the big leagues since then. I played t-ball in the same city my grandma was at, so it was a city probably like 30 minutes from where I grew up. The one thing I remember was if I was the last batter of the inning, I got to hit a home run just to get all the kids off the field. So that was probably my earliest memory of t-ball for me.
What do you remember about what you were like when you were that age? How'd you dress?
I didn't really care what I was wearing. I know my room was probably messy.
What was on your walls in your room?
I remember my sister was just kind of playing in my room and she had a Sports Illustrated magazine and she like asked me if I knew some of the baseball players on there. She posted it up and then from then on it stayed up there. I think it's still up there.
Ichiro was part of that thing your sister put on your wall, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he was probably one of the first ones that got put up. Back then, there wasn't a ton of Asian representation in baseball. I think when you're playing and you don't see it on your team, you kind of look upwards to MLB and see if people kind of look the same as you do. And obviously, Ichiro's Japanese, born in Japan, came over. So a little different from me being born in America. But he was left-handed, he played the outfield.
Was it clear to you right away that there weren't many others that looked like him, that looked like you?
I would say so, especially to his degree. During that age of Barry Bonds, Albert Pujols, all these guys hitting big home runs. Ichiro was the Mr. Fundamental, getting the singles, getting the hits, running havoc on the bases. I think that was always what kind of gravitated because I knew I was gonna be a smaller kid. And he kind of had like a cool factor to him too. I mean, he had like the Mariners turtleneck, he had that crispy beard on him at all times. Like, not only was he Japanese, but like he was cool. So I think it was two-pronged. It's like he looks like me, but like people respect him for his game and like how he looks, how he plays. So that was always really attractive for me.
Your parents had talked to us about how, even at a young age, you had to deal with racism from the stands.
Stevens, you know, like I said, he could laugh at himself. One time there was a travel ball, someone yelled out, I thought there's a height requirement to play this sport, something like that. Yeah, or open your eyes, things like that.
Yeah, that's funny that you remember that one. The height one, I think, was always gonna just follow me the rest of my life. People are always gonna be short, so that's an easy one. The open the eyes one was always like a low-hanging fruit kind of one, where it's, especially like if I struck out, like I'd get over and they'd be like, oh, like if your eyes were a little bigger, maybe you'd hit the ball, and it's like, yeah, that's a good one. Like, and you keep hearing that same one. It was always like recycled stuff, and that's just part of it. I think kids are always gonna hear what they hear and then regurgitate it, and they get other teammates to laugh.
I want to show you a picture that they shared with us. That's how you measured up with your friends, pretty much?
Yeah. As my travel ball progressed, I was able to say like, oh, these guys are a couple years older than me, so that's why I'm shorter. But I mean, you notice pretty quick that like, yeah, you're not getting taller. These guys are way over you. You're gonna have to play a different kind of game than they play. It's cool because if you're kind of focusing on just having fun with the game and you're succeeding, like you don't think about that too much, but when you don't get chosen for things, then I think the thoughts start creeping in your head, like, oh, maybe if I was a little taller, maybe if I was a little stronger. I think if you know what you do well and you're having fun, those things don't emerge in your head too much.
Was there a point where you realized that you could be good at baseball, still being one of the smaller kids?
Yeah, I think so. I think, again, that helped looking at MLB at the time. I think that's when Jose Altuve started breaking out. We actually had a local guy, Nick Madrigal. I ended up going to college with him, but he was same height as me and he's doing Team USA stuff. He commits to Oregon State, I think his freshman year. So I think that kind of helped me stay grounded to like, okay, there's obviously the big guys who they don't even need to have a good showcase and they're still making the showcase team. But if you can play really good baseball, be a good person, you'll be happy where you are.
You're standing next to Aaron Judge. Shohei Ohtani's huge, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., they're all these big giant guys. If you could tell 10-year-old Steven that you were gonna be standing next to a guy like Aaron Judge one day and like all-stars together, what do you think that 10-year-old would say to you?
Oh, he wouldn't believe it. I think that's just where my confidence was at the time. It's like, I knew I was good, but not that good. Like, never to achieve my dreams kind of thing. I'm convinced that he never would have believed something like that.
How would you rate your confidence as a kid?
Pre-puberty, it was probably through the roof. And then I think as you start getting those like hormones and you start getting with other kids around like that older age, I think then it started getting a little different for me. Playing up also had a little bit of a thing for me because I was always that young kid and that's fun. And then like off the field, they're just doing way different things. They're talking to girls, they're on social media, they're going out and just like being a fool. And I don't think I was quite there yet, or like as outgoing as they were. So I think that kind of was like, oh, maybe I don't belong with these kind of guys.
Your freshman year at Oregon State. Emotionally, how would you describe that year?
Just a roller coaster. A lot of maturing. I think that year I was able to start the first game of the season, which should show how the staff felt about me. And I just did not feel that way about myself at all. Like I thought I was really lucky to start the first game. I struck out twice. And I remember, I think after my second strikeout, just like being in the dugout, talking to one of the assistant coaches, being like, what's happening? Like almost on the verge of tears. Because I don't think I've ever struck out twice. So then to do it there was like, oh my gosh, like the walls are caving in. Like it took a lot of growth that year to kind of get to where I wanted to be.
One thing I know baseball players are good at, they all know their stats. Do you remember your batting average your freshman year?
Low twos.
215.
Yeah.
Your dad said it was your first real failure. You remember it that way too?
Yeah, absolutely. Started off on a good little stretch, and then I had my first hamstring injury. So then that was like, oh wow, like, was that it? Is that my only success I'm gonna get? Like, I've never hurt anything before. I don't know how long this is gonna be. So there was just a lot of uncertainty at that time, and thankfully I knew I loved baseball. So it was like, I don't have a plan B. Like, I want baseball to work out, and I'm gonna make it work, but I didn't know how I was gonna do that.
So there are different methods to cope with and deal with these things. One of them that started for you at Oregon State was meditation. How did that start for you?
Understanding there was a problem up there, that I hadn't felt my heart jumping out of my chest at the plate when I was in high school. This was a completely different feeling. Rapid breathing, all these kind of things. Like I just knew I had to slow everything down. And when I thought of meditation back then, I thought of like the incense burning and you're cross-legged, fingers up. So I was like, I guess this is what I'm gonna do now. But it was nothing like that. It was really just as simple as it was, just identifying thoughts that you have, recognizing them, and then being able to move on from there. And I thought that was super powerful, because once I applied that practice to just even like a batting cage session, I'm like, I have all these thoughts in my head right now that I had no idea. Like, no wonder I couldn't hit. Like, I'm thinking a million miles an hour right now. So that was like the first step to really understanding, like, this is truly a very mental game, and I need to dominate that.
Throw it away, let it go. That's a key concept for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's hard for some people, because when you think of throw away, it's like you think of this thing and you're like, okay, stop thinking about it. Like, the brain doesn't recognize that. Like, you can't say yes or no with something. When you say in your head, don't strike out, all your mind thinks of is strike out, so then you end up striking out. Identifying it as just a thought, like a random thought, I think that makes you give it less credit than what it's due, as opposed to you just being flooded by this thought. It's strike out, and then now you're overwhelmed. Like, I think just, again, identifying it for what it is and moving on, that's kind of the ability to throw it away.
Are you familiar with impostor syndrome?
Oh yeah.
Did you have it?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially my freshman year. I think that was the biggest time. And I remember even going on Twitter, I think Oregon State had like a top 5 recruiting class in the nation at that point. And I'm like, and I'm in this class? Like, what am I doing here? Like, I didn't get drafted. And then I get to start the first game. I'm like, oh, I think they messed up on this one. And then when I failed that first game, then it was like, there it is. Like, there's good old Steve. Like, he didn't belong here, and now we know it for real. Like, I think that was just so ingrained in my head, and I didn't want to give myself credit. It was just so hard to look inward when all I was doing was comparing myself to all my other freshmen. A quote that really stuck with me was, "Comparison's a thief of joy." And that resonated with me a lot, where it was like, oh, I went 1 for 4 and I hit a double, and it's like, oh, Nick went 3 for 4 and he hit a homer. Like, I guess I didn't have that good of a day. It's like, that's not that important, Like, you look inward, like, I had a good day, I'm happy with that, and just let it sit right there. I think doing that will allow the confidence to slowly build, and someone's always gonna be bigger, stronger, faster. You just have to control what you can control and do. I think those little nuggets, it slowly adds up, and you finally get to a point where you can be confident enough to just be good with where you're at.
Everything you're describing talks about coming from within. Are there outside forces that you needed for the reassurance to get you through those things?
I think what I was super blessed with was a really good support system around me. Obviously, my parents were always there with me. Oregon State coaches, they believed in me more than I believed in myself at the time, and that was huge. Also, just being open to a lot of those things of like mental skills. If I discounted that really early and I didn't think that was important, I think that would have led me down a completely different path.
So you're a guy who likes to journal.
It actually kind of started as an egotistical way, because I always thought in the 1% chance that I become a big leaguer, it'd be really cool to see like what my thoughts were in the minors and like what I was going through. So as I kept journaling, the cool stuff started running out, because I was in minor league ball for so long. And then I'm like, okay, well, like, This was the same thing, but like I felt kind of bad about XYZ. And then as I kind of kept building off of those things, I'm like, wow, this is really helpful.
How does that help you with the feelings we're talking about? Feeling like you belong, feeling like you're confident.
So often we have these thoughts in our head that seem so much bigger, and then when you conceptualize them onto paper, they feel so small, and they literally are really small. They take up 2 lines of a small journal. We can really build up things in our head, and getting them onto paper I think really helps.
When did you start to understand that not only you have the confidence to be here and be a part of it, but that you can be a role model for other people?
Yeah, I think I still struggle with that. My fear is that if I ever acknowledge that and say I am a role model, like to me that means I'm done. I've done enough. I can be complacent. I think having that, maybe that little bit of imposter syndrome to say like, you know, I need to keep working hard so I can be a role model for kids and be somebody that a parent wants their kid to watch and play. Like I think that continues to drive me.